Hello, 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 and welcome back to another episode of Radical Disruption. I want to start off today's episode with a little announcement. It's not really that big, so don't get too excited. But Radical Disruption, now you can actually listen to the episodes via YouTube. So I'm at Maya Nicole on YouTube, or just type in Maya Nicole and subscribe to the channel, and you can listen to all the podcast episodes on YouTube and see my face. And I know that if you have like YouTube Premium, I think you can actually download things. I don't have YouTube Premium, so don't quote me on that. But if you're like on the airplane or you're going somewhere and you want to, for whatever reason, take my voice along with you, and you don't have service, you can do that, I believe, on YouTube. Again, don't quote me on that, but catch me on YouTube now. So that's fancy. But today's episode is all about sharing your wins online. So I was on a guest podcast the other day and I was asked about sharing wins and my thoughts on it, since many of the host clients really felt like weird and icky about sharing wins online. And before I jump in and really talk about this more in depth, I just have to say that there's no right or wrong here. As always, if you don't feel good about sharing your wins, then you don't have to. And really, it's important to stick to your values and what feels really authentic to you and to your brand and to the message and impact that you're trying to make. So, what I'm about to share is my personal experience and my personal take on things, as always. All right, now let me give you a backstory on why I think it's so important and so powerful to share wins. Before I started my business, there were a few accounts that I was following on Instagram that were more in like the business coaching space, the online space, making money online. And I was following these accounts because at the time I was in network marketing and I was just looking to learn from other businesses and just connect with other people. So I was following a few other accounts, and two of these accounts really stuck out to me. I mean, they were all amazing, but two of them really were really impactful for me on my journey. One account, I remember one night I was watching this gal's stories, and she is an influencer coach. And so she teaches other people how to become influencers and, get paid collaborations and work with brands and things like that. And she had posted on her stories, she had just done a launch of one of her courses, and she had posted a breakdown of the amount of money that she made from that launch, and just getting like really vulnerable and real and raw. And during that launch, she had made $100,000. And I believe her launch was like 4 or 5 days or something along those lines. So in 4 or 5 days, she made $100,000. And I was like, oh my gosh, that was one of the very first times that I really saw someone authentically and vulnerably sharing behind the scenes details of how much money they were making and like how they were making that money and the breakdown of expenses and all of this. Like she was very, very, very transparent with all of it. And I was just mind blown. And it's not because I had never heard like people making that amount of money, but I think at the time she had, I don't know, 15,000 followers on Instagram, which don't get me wrong, that's a lot. But like usually when we think about making $100,000, we think, oh, they have hundreds of thousands of followers on Instagram or they're like a famous person. And so for me, I was like, that might actually be attainable for me. And so that was my very first like introduction to that. And then another person I followed on Instagram at the time, she was traveling. I can't remember where she was traveling. I think she was traveling in Europe somewhere. And she posted on her Instagram account how she had made $15,000 that week while she was traveling in Europe. And I had been watching her stories, and she had just been posting about, her travels and things like that, and not really pitching anything. Like it wasn't like selling and selling and selling and selling. So I, again, was like mind blown at this potential of all this money that people were making. Now, the reason why I bring this up is because when I started my business, I knew that those amounts of money were possible for me. And how did I know that making huge amounts of money was possible for me? It's because I saw other people doing it who paved the way for me and really showed me that it's possible. And then all I had to do from there was simply believe in myself and not give up. And it's not to say that, like, you start your business and if you believe that it's possible, just everything's gonna happen. That's not what I'm saying. But for me, because I had seen these people who had a 100K launch, who were making $15,000 in a week while on vacation, it really inspired me. And all these light bulbs in my head were going off of the potential of what this could really become. And it's not to say that it was an overnight success, because my journey has not been an overnight success. But I just really recognize that through hard work and through doing this for a few years that I could probably most likely reach that level of some sort. I was just so grateful that these people were willing to open up and be vulnerable on Instagram. Before I jump into that a little bit deeper though, I think that sharing wins, it isn't just about how much money you've made. Wins could be sharing a quilt that you finished. It could be a boundary that you set. It could be a child's tantrum that you navigated gracefully. It could be weight loss. It could be choosing healthy food versus processed foods. It could be getting your house organized. So, no matter what niche you are in, there are always wins to be shared, big or small. And so, when I hear people say that they are afraid to share their wins. To me, what I really hear is that they're afraid of what people might think of them if they share those things. And I, again, those people that I watched at the beginning of my journey, and I still follow them to this day, they're still I've actually had the opportunity to work with both of them, which is just so wild. Full circle moment. They played such a huge role in so many different stages of my business, but now I've actually been able to like work with them and chat with them, and they're just absolutely amazing people. And I still look up to them so, so, so much. But those people could have easily said, nah, I'm not going to post this because I don't want people to think that I'm bragging. But instead, they chose to believe that the people who were meant to receive that message were the right people who needed to hear it. And I'm so grateful that they had the courage to share because it was pivotal and so impactful seeing that on my journey. So now I feel like sharing my wins is a way to give back and hopefully inspire the next person. And for me, it's even if I inspire one person out there, even if one person sees one of my wins and they say, that's possible for me, I've done my job. Just one person. That is so powerful. Now, there are three other things that I want to chat about, though, when it comes to sharing your wins. Three other things. Number one, I do think that there's too much when it comes to sharing wins. My question before I go to post about my win each and every single time is always, what is my intention behind this post? What is my intention behind sharing this win? If my intentions are pure, then I know that I will reach the people that I need to reach. Now, this does not mean that there won't be people out there who judge or hate or misunderstand the message that I'm trying to get across. There will always be those people, no matter what you're putting out into the world. You could be talking about wins or not. There will always be people who misunderstand. But asking that question, asking myself, what is my intention behind this, really helps me when those messages do come through, those direct messages from trolls or comments from trolls or whatever it is. Because I know that my intentions are honest and pure, and I am rooted in making a bigger impact. And I know that my intentions are honest and pure, even if they're not coming across to everyone in that way. So it's really just like a gut check for me of like when those messages roll in, not to say that they don't hurt, and it's not to say that I just brush them off. Definitely over time, it's gotten a lot easier. But when I really make sure that I ask myself that question is like, what is my intention? And really actually thinking about that, not just like, oh, my intentions are pure and good, but like, what is my actual intention behind that? Then I feel so much better about posting that, not just to post it for obviously the people to see it, but knowing that there's probably going to be people who do misunderstand. Number two is context. Now, there are a lot of wins shared on social media without context. And I truly believe that this does people a disservice because it gives people an incorrect idea on time frames and the kind of like it basically gives people the idea that like it's an instant gratification overnight success story, right? So it gives people the wrong idea on time frames and that results actually do take time and effort. Posting something like I lost 5 pounds in 7 days. Okay, but what did it take to get to that point? There's always more to the story. So making sure that you're really sharing your wins with context so that people can understand what it really takes to see those results. And I think that not only is powerful in helping your audience to really have a clear picture on what it actually takes, but I think it's also really powerful in being able to connect with your audience because they're going to be able to see themselves in your journey, right? Anyone out there can share a huge win of like, I made X amount of money, or I did this thing, or I traveled on, this trip, or I bought this house, or I bought this. Like, anyone out there can share those different things. But when you're sitting in your bed late at night, like me, tapping through stories, the thing that's going to really make me connect to you isn't necessarily the end result. It's the journey that you took to get to that end result. That is what's gonna connect me to you because it's gonna make you feel, or well, I don't even know what I'm trying to say. It's going to connect me to you. It's going to humanize you. That's the word that I'm looking for. It's going to humanize you because again, I'm seeing the journey and not just, "Hi, I did this. You can do it too." It's about, how do I do that? How long did it take you to do that? That's the juicy details that I really want, is the context behind things. And third and lastly, it's good to have your own wins and to share them, but you also need to have client wins as well and share those. It's one thing to do it yourself and achieve it yourself, and it's another to teach someone else to do it as well. And if you really want to build a successful business, no matter what industry you are in, you have to raise others up. And that should always be your goal, is to achieve yourself, but to bring people up with you. So that when you reach that point, you're always reaching down and grabbing a hand and bringing them up with you. That should always be the goal. So again, it's one thing to do it yourself, but it's a whole other thing to bring people with you. So don't forget to share the wins of the people that you are bringing with you, that you are helping, that you're serving along the way. All right, that is it for today's episode. Shoot me a direct message and let me know your thoughts around sharing wins and any experiences that you might have had. I would love to chat with you.